For a while in my childhood, my mom started saying,
"You're so skinny, you're going to get blown over by the wind."
In my younger mind, I thought this woman had gone crazy. I argued hard. People don't just get blown over by the wind. Not around here. And especially not because of their skinniness. One day, little me was carrying a 5-gallon bucket full of water. It was a windy day out, but nothing that I hadn't seen before. The bucket was heavy and I wasn't very well balanced. A good gust of wind came along and it was just enough to finish knocking me off balance and send me flying to the ground. I could not believe it. I got blown over by the wind. That's the day that I discovered the mom curse. That's literally the only time in my life thus far that I've ever been blown down by the wind. So, young me thought, she cursed me. There were plenty of other times that also proved this theory over and over again as I grew up, like the time that we had a family event to go to, and my younger sister Alicia wanted to spend the night with me. In this example, I was an adult. My sister wasn't quite yet. We wanted to just go to the event together the following day. My mom didn't want to let her because she said if she spent the night, then we would be late. There were no past events or anything that I could come up with as to why we would be late just because she spent the night. We finally talked my mom into letting her stay. But little did we know, we'd already been mom cursed. Since my mom had already made a fuss that we were going to be late, Alicia and I decided that we were going to get up extra early and make sure we were not even just on time, but early. We got on the road with plenty of time to spare. Late. Ha! Immediately, when we left the house, a tractor pulled out right in front of us. You know, going like 5 miles an hour. Traffic was coming, we couldn't go around it. Thankfully, it only putt-putted in front of us for a little bit before it went back to its natural habitat of the field. Woohoo! We were still on track. We were still going to be early. I kid you not, we got half a mile down the road, stopped at a stoplight, and in front of us came pouring out a really long line for a funeral procession. Yes, it's very sad, of course, but it's also extremely slow. We broke free of that, and then look at the time. We still are good. We are not going to be early, but we will not be late. Haha. The crazy thing was that things just kept happening. This old woman was crossing the street, and I am telling you, she was singing that song. Every day I'm shuffling. That's all her feet were doing. Shuffling, shuffling. If I hadn't have been afraid of getting maced or something, I totally would have picked her up and carried her. Then we had to pull over to the side of the road for a string of emergency vehicles to go by. There were so many, I thought maybe we had hostages at a bank robbery. We escaped from town just so we could have a tree limb fall down in front of us across the road. It was so big we had to get out and drag it to the side. I'm really not making this stuff up. To put a cherry on top, a chupacabra dove onto the windshield and almost made us crash. Okay, so I made that part up. If you don't already know, chupacabras are these mythical goat-eating creatures. Huh, it's fun to say. They're tales from Mexico and other countries. I mean, I guess they're tales. You never know what's lurking out in those cornfields. Anyway, with kidding aside, the whole world seemed to be against us with making it to this event on time. We didn't stand a chance. Of course, we were late, just as she had cursed us to be. I won't get into all the mom curses, you get my point. But I do want to share with you the last time that I was mom cursed and I didn't listen. Okay, so Alicia was helping me with some painting that I needed done at the house. The plan was that Alicia was spending the night with me and my daughter was spending the night at my mom's. Plans changed. I had to go pick up my daughter. Unfortunately, we were in the middle of getting a lot of snow. Alicia and I were already hanging out in our PJs at this point. But we left in a hurry because we wanted to go get her before the snow got worse. When I was getting off the phone with my mom to come get my daughter, the curse was placed. She said,
Take the highway or you're gonna get stuck.
When we got going, the main roads looked terrible. As I approached one of the back roads that I normally took, it actually looked a lot clearer than the main roads. Yep, the back road option seemed to make more sense. As we went along, we did run into random snowdrifts that were rather deep, but otherwise it was seeming much clearer. My SUV was a beast. We were blasting straight through those snowdrifts. The snow kept flying, the wind kept blowing. It was getting really hard to tell where the road ended and the fields began. We were barreling through some really deep stuff when the phone rang. We rounded a right curve. Alicia frantically screamed, "We have to answer!" We rounded a left curve. I calmly told Mom everything was good and we were almost there. Then came another right curve. I hung up the phone as we came out of the curves, and ahead of us was deeper than anything we had seen yet. But I trudged on forward just like a crazy lady. Well, then I basically buried my SUV in the snow. We were completely stuck. It was a snowdrift that went higher than the hood of my SUV. We had left so quickly that we did not dress for winter at all. We were each wearing really thin pajamas and slippers. No coats, no shoes, not smart. At the time, we didn't have anyone to call to pull us out, so we tried walking the rest of the way. It had gotten dark out, the wind was blowing straight through us, and our slippers were filling with snow. It didn't take us long to realize that we may actually freeze to death out there, so we desperately stopped at the first house that we saw. Those jerks spotted us through the windows, turned out all the lights, and wouldn't answer the door. We had to find somewhere warm or body parts were going to start falling off. The next house actually tried to ignore us too until Alicia lost it and frantically started banging their door so hard that the old woman came running over and said she only opened the door because she thought we were going to break it down. In which Alicia replied,
"I was going to!"
All of a sudden, in a panic, the lady realized that we were not wearing coats, actual shoes, or any sort of worthy winter attire. So she hurried us inside, and while we were thawing out, she called someone that she knew who said he could take us home on his tractor. Thankfully, she threw our soggy slippers into the dryer for a little bit, so our feet were sort of warm whenever Tractor Man arrived. We scurried up his tractor, and then he proceeded to cuss at us for like a solid 5 minutes about how crazy it was to drive in a blizzard. Apparently, he had already rescued a few other people from the snow earlier, so he was kind of over it. We started to get stuck in the tractor a couple of times. Each time that happened, it was too deep there, so we had to go a different direction. We wandered around for some time. I wasn't even sure where we were anymore. I literally lost track of whether we were actually driving on the road or in the field because it was just one solid sheet of snow. Jared, my husband, got home from work and called me. I told him what was going on and he said he wanted to come get us. Tractor Man's words almost turned into a solid censored beep. But amongst the beeps, I did catch the part where he said he would not rescue Jared if he came out on these roads and got stuck. Ain't doing it. I'm not rescuing any more crazy people. You tell him, do not get on this road. No, 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 no! I told Jared to just meet me at Mom's house using the main roads. Jared said,
Nah, I can make it. I'll come get you.
I said, yeah, no, don't do that. This guy's already mad enough. Then Tractor Man's face dropped, and he said, what? I'm not mad. We finally made it to my parents' house, and Jared took us home. We unburied the SUV the next day, and then all was well. Watch out for those mom curses.